the government who has a monopoly on violence to steal from you and me to give to somebody else and enrich themselves. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. You see it at your local level. You see it at your state level. You see it at your federal level. And you see it at the world level.
If a government claims a right, and then their claim is that they derive these rights from the people.
Right.
Well, how can people give a group rights that they don't themselves have?
To steal from each other.
Right, if we can't tax people, like I can't tax you, where exactly does government derive this right from? And once you come to, you realize that the goal ought to be as voluntary a society as possible. Now, how exactly you achieve that, how far you can push that is debatable, but certainly that should be the goal. That if government is providing a service for you, well then why does it need to be provided by force?
You guys remember back about 4 years ago when the Rona thing started all up? Remember how your local governments acted? Remember how they followed everybody's orders? Remember how they locked you down? Remember how they closed businesses? Remember how they closed boat ramps? Remember how they recommended the shots? Remember how they instilled fear in you? Told you, wear a mask, social distance, walk one way down the aisle at the grocery store.
Shot. We've got to make sure we clarify that with people. It has nothing to do whether or not it's effective. We know it's highly effective. Highly effective.
Do you remember all that? Well, now, here in Kershaw County, they're going to update their emergency powers. You know, to curfews and anything else that they missed the last go-round. Ladies and gentlemen, do you trust them after what they did the last time? They didn't do their own homework. Here at the Liberty Report, we were talking all about it. The different things, the dangers of these things. How the mask didn't work and all the social distancing was made up. We talked about all that. Did they? No. They went along. At every step now, your federal, state, and local governments are revamping their powers, or claiming more powers to be prepared the next time. And they already tell us it's going to be a next time. You know, what are they scaring us with now? The bird flu, disease X. In the meantime, at the World Health Organization, the WHO, they're preparing to do more power to themselves, to declare an emergency, a climate emergency, and the climate MacGuffins. At every level, government is coming for more and more power, more and more control. Central bank digital currencies. Digital IDs. Digital passports. That's why one of the reasons that the TSA is there, to normalize these things. Look, you can get all your biometric data on your smartphone, and all you have to do is pass, and everything's already there. It'll be easy. You don't have to be felt up. You don't have to be scanned. We trust you. It's for your safety and security, don't you know? But in the meantime, when you're out there running your life and listening to music and drinking beer and playing golf and going camping and fishing and anything to get relief from the world, the tiptoe to tyranny continues unabated. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, year after year after year. Kind of like building a prison, one brick at a time. While you're not paying attention, the bricks are being laid, the bricks are being laid. Before you know it, you don't see the sunshine anymore, and you wonder what happened. The world around you is full of lies. Mainstream media turns white into black and black into white. The destruction of the family, the destruction of the middle class. There's a war. There's a war. There is a war on me and you. All the population is too much. And as Bill Gates says, if we do a good job on vaccines, we can lower that 10 to 15%. Just give us more power. Give us the power to declare an emergency. There's a war on food. Oh, the cows are diseased. Eat less meat. Genetically modified food is going to save the world, is what they tell us. They control the food. They control the money. They control you. We're just slaves on the plantation of Slavelandia. Our representatives don't represent us. They represent special interest. The ones that pay them, the ones that get them reelected. From big pharma to military industrial complex to road construction companies to whoever can benefit from the government largesse. The government who has a monopoly on violence to steal from you and me to give to somebody else and enrich themselves. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. You see it at your local level. You see it at your state level. You see it at your federal level. And you see it at the world level. The United Nations. Look at it all. At every point and every level, government is inherently corrupt. It is a thief, a liar, and a murderer, and a collective. It is a fiction of your own imagination. It's what you've been indoctrinated with in your entire life, From the moment you come out of the womb, you're wrapped in a red, white, and blue flag. Or in France, a French flag. Or in Germany, a German flag. Or a Venezuelan flag, or a Mexican flag, or a state. You are born and indoctrinated into a state, a religion. The best slave is one who thinks he's free. And we think we're free. We think that the government's there to protect us, keep us safe from criminals, common criminals, blue collar, white collar, from enemies on the foreign side. That's why we have empire. We have to go over there and fight them so that we don't have to fight them here. They create their own boogeyman to go out and slay. Ukraine, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. Where have we not been? They lied us into Vietnam. 58,000 killed. Who knows how many wounded? Who knows how many civilians were killed? How many billions and billions of dollars were made on that? War is the health of the state and the profit of the corporations. And now your local governments want more power. Is that what we're going to give them? Is this the American way? And now we got an election show. Sleepy Joe and the Tangerine Messiah. Which one will it be? Which one will you choose? It's like an NFL game. It doesn't matter. The NFL wins. This case, doesn't matter. The government wins. And yet we play the game. As a casual observer, I think it's kind of interesting to watch. And you see the momentum for Trump, and every time something comes out in that courtroom and all, his numbers go higher and higher. You know, it's like a tidal wave of MAGA going across the country. And I just find it interesting, and I think, you know, it would be really, really funny if, like 2020, they steal the election and they give it to Sleepy Joe again. What would the MAGA cult do? And I'd say they're going to put on their pink hats, whine and cry, and do absolutely nothing. We'll get him in 4 years. I think it would be fun to watch. Does it matter which one really gets in there? Not much. You find that the overall trajectory of the machine will always remain constant. More power, less liberty. It doesn't matter which side. It's just on the peripheries that they change a little bit to keep whichever side in conflict. You gotta have two sides. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a wrestling match. But you do have a choice. Do nothing or do something. Maybe that's the only freedom you still have. Are you going to keep your freedom to choose? Or are you going to let that one go too? Huh? World going to hell in a handbasket. And you're just along for the ride. Sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, we have become a disoriented, confused, dumbed down, obedient little wimps who don't even know what freedom is. We can sing the songs and pledge the allegiance and cry when the planes fly over at the football stadium or the racetrack. But we really don't know what we don't know. It's time for a revolution. And I'm not talking about shooting and killing and all. I'm talking about a revolution of your mind. Repair what's in between your ears. Start to exercise the muscles that you haven't never used. And ask the questions. Are you free? What does it mean to be free? And how much are you willing to do to be free? How much are you willing to sacrifice to be free? For you young people, you have a whole lifetime in front of you. What are you going to do with that life? Are you just going to sail along and let us fall into tyranny? Or are you going to dedicate your life to freedom? Stand up for what's right. Stand on the principles of natural law, of God's gift, the right to free speech, the right to self-defense, the right to be secure in your properties. You have many more rights than that little Bill of Rights even dares to list. You have a right to not be bothered by a monopoly on violence. We have a right to be left alone. You have a right to know what your government is doing. Secrecy is the most dangerous thing that a state can keep. We don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're doing. But what we do know is how much evil they are doing. Just something else to think about. Come on up here, Doe. Yep. Old Flo Dog. That's a little anarchist. Same thing with that other dog, Fred and Flo, the undocumented Mexicans is what we call them. Think about what I said. Think about what we talked about. Freedom's not free. Are you going to pay the price? Till next time, Jeff Maddox. Peace.
If a government claims a right, and then their claim is that they derive these rights from the people.
Right.
Well, how can people give a group rights that they don't themselves have?
To steal from each other.
Right, if we can't tax people, like I can't tax you, where exactly does government derive this right from? And once you come to, you realize that the goal ought to be as voluntary a society as possible. Now, how exactly you achieve that, how far you can push that is debatable, but certainly that should be the goal. That if government is providing a service for you, well then why does it need to be provided by force?